Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to be asking the question, are birds really dying in mass? So Albert Einstein is attributed to saying that if all bees were to disappear, that the human race would only have 4 years to live. Now I know that we're talking about birds and not bees, but in reality, he was really talking about interdependence. So the idea of interdependence is that every species relies on another species, and whenever something occurs to one species, the other one is affected. So the reports are that the birds seem to be lethargic, that they seem to be disoriented, and nobody really knows exactly what is happening here.
Now, hundreds of thousands of dead birds are being found across the state.
Devastating. I don't think I've ever seen anything this horrible in my life. And a lot of these species they're already in trouble and they're experiencing declines, and then to have this type of event occur on top of it it's devastating.
From warblers to bluebirds to swallows, dead birds are showing up across the state. This was taken in northern New Mexico. NMSU professor and ecologist Martha Desmond is studying the deaths, working on identifying the bird species, seeing the shape the birds were in before they died, and sending them to forensic labs to learn more.
So the prevailing theories, of course, are the California wildfires. Now, this does make sense, especially if all of the food supply of the birds are completely obliterated. There's no insects to eat. Something has to occur, right? And this goes back to the idea of interdependence.
This has been happening across New Mexico for several weeks, leaving biologists baffled.
Now, one thing that is fascinating about birds is that they have a high concentration of iron in their beaks. And this allows them to be able to tap into the Earth's magnetic pole. In other words, knowing which direction is north and south. So this also allows them to know which direction to fly to. And according to the reports is that perhaps these birds are so disoriented that they don't know which direction to go to. Now, once again, this is all speculation. Scientists still really do not know what is occurring. So I decided to go and investigate further and did a little bit of birding. So Mcallen is actually named one of the best birding places in the whole United States according to Cornell Lab of Ornithology, and rightly so. We have tourism dedicated just for birding. In case in point, we have the great kiskadee. So the great kiskadee kind of doesn't go anywhere. He's a flycatcher that seems perfectly content living in the valley, and he does extend into Mexico and part of South America, but they really don't migrate. And then of course we do have the doves. Now it's unfortunate because the doves, it is legal in Texas to hunt doves. So every once in a while, you'll see these doves kind of dead all over the place because of hunters. And then we have the ladder-backed woodpecker, which are very common. Now I shoot the palm tree because the palm tree holes like that are home to green parakeets. Now there are no green parakeets around this time of year, but you could see this footage that I stole from Hoth Avian, which you should follow on YouTube like I do. This is North 10th Street, Mcallen, and it is Hitchcockian. My goodness, you will see these green parakeets in mass. And later in the day, we have some killdeer in that same tree. And then we have, my goodness, the mockingbirds, which will fool you into thinking that there are different birds, and of course they're just simply mockingbirds. Now as the day gets hotter, the dense air, which allowed the birds to have their sound travel much easier, finally rises up into the sky, and the birds go into hiding, and then there really isn't much birding left to do. So of course you want to use the time wisely and observe other insects, other wildlife, and so on and so forth. And of course the valley is also a hotspot for butterflies. Now, what was kind of strange to me is that I didn't actually see any red-winged blackbirds, which I do kind of see red-winged blackbirds every time I do go birding, so it was kind of concerning not to see them. And then, of course, one of my favorite birds of all time in the valley is the Altamira oriole, which has like a nest that looks like a sock, and I didn't see any of them either. And although the valley is not one of these areas that has been greatly affected by these birds dying en masse, it is always a good scientific practice to do some observation. And on top of it, it is always a stark reminder of the effects that humans have on the environment and on the different species on Earth, and of course our interdependence on them. Alright guys, so that's going to do it for this one, and until next time, ask yourself that question: is this good for the Earth?